Yeah, so since we do have... I'm hitting these buttons that make us be soundful. Soundful?
Soundful?
Soundish.
That's a word.
I was over at my channel. No, I need to do discussing tabletop. There we go. Now I'm in the right spot. I think I was because I pressed the go live stuff. It was look. I hit the go live stuff, and I just forgot to switch back to the discussing tabletop video. You know, I'm forgetful.
It's okay. Now people can just steal all of your info. And,
yeah,
I mean, they can see all the stuff that's just on my Discord server that they could have been on anyway.
I'm joking.
I know, but anyway, hi everybody. It's May 4th, and may it be with Star Trek. Take that, Star Wars nerds. We'll be doing that later on. That's later on tonight, but in 3 hours. Hey, no. Also, hey, I don't know. I'm not going to complain much about Star Wars, but we're here for discussing tabletop. There actually isn't any Star Wars or Star Trek news, surprisingly.
No,
no, there is actually one thing related to Modiphius, but it's just like tiny. So I threw all the Modiphius things together. So it's like we'll talk about it, but it's like minor related to second edition.
Yeah.
So. But yeah. Anyway,
I always forget to check for Mongoose stuff.
I mean, you know, I go to Mongoose's site, but like every time I go there, I look for like a good 10 seconds, and then I'm like, I don't know what's going on here.
If the company doesn't send me an email, I don't see it.
Honestly, I check their DriveThruRPG page because that's the only way
Like, if they don't make a Twitter post and they don't email me about it, there is no physical way I'm going to see it because I'm not going to look anywhere except Twitter and my emails.
I mean, there's one company I should start following on like their websites, because the other ones I can check also. Like, Modiphius sends me emails, and like Free League sends me emails, but I'm already going to the websites. But I have to remember, like, Japan Games, like, they've got their website, but they navigate terribly, so you have to rely on their emails on this.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess we should start with our first topic, though, because, I mean, you know, we should get into it, and we can kind of chat along the way. Because we do have a technical schedule. I'd like to be done close to 8-ish today, just so I get like an hour to prep for the next show. So we may or may not have a deeper discussion topic. I kind of have one in mind, but I'm kind of leaving it on. We'll see how close we get to 8 o'clock before we start.
Yeah,
all right.
There's definitely something from Mongoose that should be noted.
Okay. We'll add that in at the end. So I guess we'll start with, of course, some Magic the Gathering stuff, because I've got a couple things related to that. And the first one is, of course,
the first one's just kind of funny.
It's funny, and it's probably sold out, which is the Hatsune Miku Secret Lair.
Love Hatsune Miku still.
They do. They really do. I mean, I was always
been into Vocaloid or Japanese, like, voice synthesized music, but I kind of get it. After playing Turnip Boy Robs a Bank, I kind of get it, because they use her in one of the songs.
Yeah, I never really got most. Like, the Hatsune Miku songs were fine. They were really great. I think there was only, like, one that I really liked. I can't remember which one it was, but it's the, you know, it was an early one. I'll tell you that one. I'd have to look it up. But there was one I really did enjoy. But that's, like, you know, you can have a song you like from an artist, doesn't make you obsessed with them, you know, that kind of thing. You know, oh, it's that one song I like from this person. It was the same kind of thing for me. It was sort of like, well, yeah, the other songs weren't bad, they just weren't winning it over for me. So I was never that big into it overall. But yeah, I can see people loved Hatsune Miku, and now we've got the Secret Lair. And again, it's most likely sold out. Not that you couldn't probably find the cards for marked up prices somewhere individually.
Yeah.
Probably.
This is one of the secret lairs where it's kind of good value because, well, none of these cards have, like, super individual value. I did check, they do add up to about a little over $30.
Yeah. Yeah, so, considering selection of stuff, I don't know how they all relate to Hatsune Miku, but whatever. You know, the legends...
I mean, I can see it, because Harmonize, there's...
Okay.
Lost But Singing, the Renown, because Hatsune is renowned. She has, I don't know, you could say Hatsune Miku has an inspiring vistage. I don't really think so, but again, people like Hatsune Miku.
Yeah. So, again, it's a Vocaloid. If you don't know much about that, that's like...
It's a voice synthesizer.
Yeah.
They use
voice
a
synth.
voice database for singing.
They've had their
You
popularity.
were on the internet, like, between the years of 2009 and 2015, you've probably heard at least one song.
Yes.
I pretty much only know the League song.
Yeah. That's probably the one you've heard.
Yeah. I heard the lead song too. That's
Funnily
another one
enough, there are a couple of, like, bands that are non-vocally that have covered her songs that I know more about than her. Like, oh wow, that's a Vocaloid song? Weird.
So again, like, it's a neat crossover.
This one's
again,
just fun.
Yeah, this one's just fun. They
Also, again, Magic is trying to break into the Japanese market, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
I think the question is, like, with the limited supply of secret layers, I think it's got to be like this probably sold out really quickly.
I feel like this one is sold out.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Like, I think that's the problem. Is like when they've switched to a mode that really, I think is best described as very negative for the entire thing because there's a lot of that FOMO now. They're pushing because it'll sell out. You'll run out of a chance at it, so you're gonna spend on something before you know if one, it's valuable enough for you, or two, you even could use the stuff from it.
Okay, I see why they use the card Harmonize, because Hatsune Miku has a song called Harmonize.
I mean, Harmonize is also just a musical term.
It is just a musical term.
Yeah.
Well, apparently they made this song for the secret lair. That's fair. You know, that's kind of neat. You can technically just buy a license to Hatsune Miku and use her for songs, as long as it's within the terms of service.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Following up on this, there's a couple of other magic-related things to talk about. One of them is something I talked about actually like a week or two ago, which I think I had read a couple unofficial translations of chapters of this manga, but they can't be regenerated. A Magic Gathering manga, or Destroy All Humans, they can't be regenerated. A Magic Gathering manga is getting a translation by Viz. There's a lot more volumes of it.
Does okay with translation.
Viz is not bad. There's apparently 14 books of this, but it is centered
That's
around
long.
This is, again, it's a manga that's not less about like the actual game and more about people playing the game kind of thing too.
Look up some panels of this. Oh, I've read parts of this. Yeah, I think I've read some fan translations.
Yeah, that's kind of where I got into seeing some of this one here with some fan translations, and it was pretty interesting. It wasn't bad, but there wasn't a lot of it at the time that I was seeing it. So
it's kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh, where they're playing the game.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh does take it a little bit more dramatic, over the top.
I mean,
this is
yes,
like,
I know
that goes.
I'm just saying, in that concept, it's people playing the game.
It's people playing the game
in the universe of the game. Yeah.
I assume people don't die in this like they do in the Yu-Gi-Oh.
No, I think this is just actual people playing the game.
People die in the Yu-Gi-Oh manga.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh is they're playing the game, but it also
they don't really for like the first 2 seasons, and they start to again.
Yeah, because it turns out you can do a lot more when you just say, "Yeah, we're staying with the Shadow Realm."
Yep. We're just saying that the cards also have supernatural powers. You know,
that's fairly standard.
Yeah, they're not saying that here at least. This is like it's a little bit more realistic, you know. But it definitely is an interesting concept.
The first volume will have a special card.
Ooh, that's neat.
Can't wait for that one to become super expensive.
Yeah. I'm just gonna lead to that deep sigh and just say yup. And the other one is, this one I wouldn't have noticed because I don't follow Magic's YouTube page. And they announced a secret layer on Magic's YouTube page, and it doesn't show up on any of their news articles. Meaning I would have to go to the secret layer section, which I would not do with 10-foot pole. And they made a meme secret layer.
Of course they did.
In Comic Sans and doing the... I believe that it's the mocking SpongeBob meme. So it's like doubly just... I don't know.
Sure.
I kind of thought the pictures would be meme-y, but it's just the Comic Sans and the...
Comic Sans is a font designed to be easily read, and is very good for that. When you start doing what they've done with this text, it does make it unreadable.
Yeah. And like...
I mean, yeah.
And apparently, like, the quotes are kind of, like, weird, too. So, I don't know. This is a weird choice.
I don't like this one. Let's go back to the Hatsune Miku one.
Yeah. Like, I don't even know if this was an actual produced thing, or if this is just an April Fool's joke, because, like, it was revealed, because, like, they revealed the versions of the cards, you know, that's the kind of thing. So, I'm just trying to read the article here again. Anyway, regardless, it was a terrible idea. Thanks, Magic, for it being, like, connecting us to memes from a decade ago. Was it really that long ago?
I mean, probably.
Yeah. Okay, 2014. In Comic
like,
Sans.
If they used meme pictures...
Yeah, I was expecting them to use, like, meme pictures.
I think that would, like, tie it all together, but they did.
Agreed.
That would require
this
them
feels
to
a little
pay
lazy.
someone for more art.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Not necessarily. A lot
just
of
get a
meme
guy
stuff
with
is followed under is.
It's just
know,
give an
under
intern MS Paint. They're good.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, and it wasn't even on, like, it's
It wasn't on
May
April Fool's
1st.
Day.
It's May 1st they revealed this.
It's just dumb.
You know?
You're a little late.
Yeah. It's just so bad. Let's talk about something cool. How about we do that? Rather than, you know, Wizards' bad time period for things that are just like, make us shake our heads. Would you like a mecha in Starfinder?
Yeah.
Well,
they would have that already.
I guess they do, but now they're doing a adventure path for first edition called Mechageddon.
That is just an Evangelion.
It's fighting a giant monster. I mean, that's the point of it. You're going to be fighting a kaiju called
That
Colossi.
is an Evangelion.
But apparently the player's guide, it does give you stuff on creating a hero and your own custom mech in Starfinder to just fight a giant monster in a mech suit.
That's cool.
I mean, it's an interesting idea. I really like the idea of it. They've taken things to, like, a very big, extreme direction, you know? I gotta be honest, it's like, I can see it in Starfinder, but I didn't think of it in Starfinder. You know, I think that's the point of it, that, you know, having a giant
I would have
mech...
thought this would already have been in Starfinder.
I know. I don't know. I guess, maybe not. I just don't know. So yes, they got rules for having a big old mech.
Oh, it's an adventure.
Yeah, it's gonna be an adventure path.
3 to 18, holy shit.
Yeah, I don't know how many books that's supposed to be.
That is
3 to
a
18.
big adventure.
Yeah. So I'm not quite sure how many books they're planning. Do they say
It only lists one $60 book here.
Oh, it's
This will be
hardcover.
for first edition.
This will be for first edition, which hopefully you can easily adapt to second edition.
It'll probably be easier than Pathfinder 1E to Pathfinder 2E, but I still think it's going to be a little hard.
Because second edition Pathfinder is just a slight advancement of Starfinder's mechanics.
It's a single
It's
book
just a
adventure
big
path.
book.
Yeah, so you can get the
I kind of
special
prefer
edition.
single book adventures
Yeah, so
rather than having
it's
to have 6 books taking up
I actually
space.
saw a video that was actually fairly it actually made a fairly good point. The norm for published books, or sorry, I should say, we should start doing more single adventure publishings that cover like 1 to 2 levels, so that way people can string them together in however order they want, pick what they like, and then they don't have to actually have as much. And then the commitment there isn't as necessary. People can change characters. People can, that kind of stuff. Basically made a whole point about how that's probably a better way for the game to be played rather than these big 20-level modules.
I'm going to tell you that is technically how an adventure path in Pathfinder is written. You really could clip out each of them and play them on their own.
Yeah, I did that for some of Carrion Crown.
You just don't involve the big overall plot. and most of them you actually can do. Like, I can tell you, the plot lines, with changing a couple of things, I could probably run most of the adventures in Crimson Throne.
The Plague one would be a super easy adventure to run on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but at the same time, it's kind of just like, they're meant to be together.
They are meant to be together, and that's true.
You couldn't, if you read Carrion Crown, you couldn't tell that.
That's also very true.
It
and
really,
that actually
really depends on the adventure path, how well they're strung together.
Yes. I'm going to tell you, like, there's plenty of... I've someone who's played a lot of adventure paths.
Some adventure paths are bad. I've actually read some of them.
Yeah.
They're just... Not many of them actually string together very well. So, I mean, like, I like some of these ideas for some bigger books that, like, you know, we get these here too. I'm not against it also. It's like just throwing together one big adventure path.
It comes out and you don't have to wait for another book to come out.
Yeah.
Like you do with the other adventure paths.
Yeah. Granted, like, most of the time when they're doing, like, the 3 books at least, that doesn't feel too bad, because, like, normally you probably
when it was the 6 books for one each.
Then you're, like, waiting, like, a year or half a year. You're half a year to a year to get that thing done, and you might be... who knows how long you're going to take, too, you know? Depends on your sessions, your players, like... We do 3-hour sessions a week. That limits us pretty well. But if you can do, like, a 6-hour session a week, you know, or something like that, or a 4 or 5-hour session, that's going to speed things up dramatically, you know. So.
Yeah, my old Pathfinder, we failed to finish Iron Gods because we had to wait for the rest of it to come out, and we just went and played something else.
Yep.
And never went back to it. I think we switched from Iron Gods to Wrath of the Righteous, which was a terrible mistake in my opinion.
Yeah. It is funny, though, because I do tend to finish, like, the really long modules I start if I do those.
Yeah, I like...
In fact, that was actually a point that the guy made, is like, originally they were modular. That's why they're called modules.
Yeah.
That's how they got the name.
Yeah.
So.
Again, I both agree and think that, like, we have a different evolution in the way things do, and it doesn't quite work the same anymore. Because I think, like, most people, when they tell stories, like, the old way of telling stories certainly felt like it could be more modular, much definitely. I was there during the early 3rd edition, late 2nd edition kind of age. Yeah, no, that was the age of modules.
We have a lot more grand stories now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it just kind of turns people off. It could, in theory, turn people off of the market a little bit if, like, you never get resolution because everything dies.
That's also, like, it's the juxtaposition of the world we live in. And I think there is a balance between the two of them that could be developed. Because, like, the way that module adventures work...
I agree.
Most module adventures aren't written to be very personal adventures for characters, is the only thing about it, when you think about it. Because it's meant to be you can slot it in. So, it keeps a lot of, like, you're not developing, like, a lot of NPC developments except through in this one book, things like that. You're only connecting with a region in this one book. And, you know, something like 3 books in Corvosa, you connect with Corvosa a lot deeper, you know, and I think that's, yes, you can set them all in the same place, but it's the same kind of thing of playing around with some stuff.
No, and I, honestly, I mean, as someone who thinks that you should basically completely find ways to include and rewrite things so your characters have a place in the story, you know, I'm down with that. But anyway.
It's an interesting idea, though. I do like the discussion. I'm gonna say, you know,
we could maybe put it down as a discussion, like how should be run or whatever. Anyway, we can mark it down for another time.
You know, we'll just call it like modules as an idea. Anyway, so there is another playtest for Pathfinder, though. We can talk about briefly. So if you want to take a look at the Commander and Guardian classes that they're showing off here. For 2 months that they're going to run here. So these are 2 different classes that you can check out. For their Pathfinder Battle Cry, which is an upcoming source book, coming out in 2025 Gen Con. So this is next year.
Okay. Yeah, I pre-ordered the books for the Player Core, Player Core 2e, DM Core, and Monster Core. Everything else after that, I'm probably going to just buy PDFs for.
You know, this is what I'm going to say about it. Seeing and reading a little bit of the Commander, I only read a little bit of it, and the Guardian this feels very taken from 4th edition D&D.
Huh. Oh yeah, because they didn't have like it wasn't Commander, it was like the... Maybe it was the Commander, actually.
Look,
Was it called the Commander?
I will
It was
always
The Champion. No, I
stand.
think it was the Champions, I think is what it
I will
was.
always stand by this. We have hit the point now where enough time has passed where everyone is looking at 4th edition. Actually, these are really good ideas.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, like, because it reminds me very much of which disappeared from the leader group. Its name. I'm sure this is because I'm trying to remember the name on my head. My name breaks. My name breaks. My brain breaks. The Warlord. The Warlord was an idea.
Warlord, that's what it was. Yeah,
Warlord
that's what I was thinking of.
And so the Warlord reminds me of something this reminds me of something in between the Warlord and maybe the Marshal from 3rd edition too. And I'm like, huh. And
I want to play Warlord. Warlord looks like a fun class to play if I ever play for you.
And the Guardian seems to kind of bring about some of those like aspects that were in the Defender type classes from 4th edition to a degree. Or some of the ideas of it at least. Granted, again, it's very Pathfinder 2nd edition. You're going into something very different, but it's like there are ideas that were for class types that we haven't seen since these older editions and stuff like that, you know. When Pathfinder 1st edition came out, we had nothing like these, really, that they repeated. 5th edition has done nothing like these, really, to a degree. They might have done some, like, subclasses which mark on some of this stuff like that, but it's really just like, I'm a fighter with I can also do a little bit of this kind of thing, you know. So it was an interesting idea to kind of get into these two.
No, I agree. I think the idea of, actually, I should say, the concept of these still exist. They just they don't do them by name, and I actually think that's a mistake. I think they definitely should have kept, like basically being, this character is designed as a controller. Although, to be fair, that's actually not true, because wizards can be built in multiple ways. So, as either, like, controllers or strikers, depending.
It's, again, like, these are character archetypes, too, which you kind of have usually folded into other places a lot of times. And having unique that this is its own thing. Like, the Guardian being like, I'm a defending type. I'm the tank, you know? And I don't have to do all the fightery stuff, you know, that a fighter also has to kind of do. Because that's what it is if you build a tank fighter in either Pathfinder 1st edition, or if you did it like in 2nd edition, or D&D, you can, but you're still relied on to be a fighter and then also a tank, kind of, you know. And I think it's similar for the Commander, because that's more battlefield tactics, which is very different than, you know, I'm the guy that does plans and stuff as out of combat kind of stuff, which you really build into a lot. You know, so it's interesting that we get the two of these. I would probably want to, you know, they're interesting. They're new concepts. I'm interested to see where they build them to and stuff like that. So.
Yep. Anyway,
I'm interested in how Battlecry ends up. Are they going to try some kind of large combat rules along with that? If so, I'm a little hesitant, but you know, people
I think people should keep trying massive combat rules until the universe finally finds one that works.
That's true. One day they might.
No harm in continuing to try.
That's true. So, as if you want to check it out and playtest those for 2nd edition, the new core, you can. So, I wanted to talk about this one because it's silly and stupid, and it's something that's going on, and we probably should talk about it. And it's technically Magic the Gathering related, but also not. Because someone bought a Black Lotus for $3 million.
I did see that. I think it's absurd.
It's absurd. There's no way it's valued at that. It is such an overprice.
Collectors pay too much money for things.
Considered to be in perfect condition.
I mean, yes, that might be very rare that it's gotten, you know, a perfect 10 condition from these people that, graded it.
Yeah.
But I have actually seen that grading is not an exact science also. I've heard people talk about this, where they could send it away to be graded, take it out of their thing, send it away to be graded again, and it could be graded differently entirely.
Yeah.
So, grading's a little bit in the eye of the beholder. Okay, maybe it's up in that top tier of grading anyway, or like perfection, like it's just out of the box, out of the pack. But 3 million is it's so ridiculous.
I think that
I
you
agree.
could spend $3 million on something better than a piece of cardboard.
I
Agreed.
highly agree.
On a piece of cardboard, you're going to keep in a container that you're never going to physically touch or look at.
I'm not
Well,
gonna
we'll look
lie.
at it, but not
If
physically.
I had money, and if I wanted to finish my Magic collection, I would buy Black Lotus, but I would not go for the top tier one. I'd go one that looks decent. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not looking for perfect. Something that's like, okay, it could be expensive, like 5,000, 10,000. That's kind of where I'd be about it. You know what? To spend the rest of that 3 million on anything else. That would be my big expensive purchase. Your extra car or something. But this is just too much. It's just too.
I remember when, because the article mentioned, I remember when Post Malone spent like $2 million on the One Ring card.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which was
I
that
actually
was
said nothing.
absurd.
It was 2 million. Honestly, though, in a weird way, that makes more sense to me.
That's more valuable because that's a one-in-a-kind card.
Yeah. I will agree in that situation. I think it is an absurd amount of money, but being a 1 out of 1, there's only one of these things ever existing.
It's the only one that exists and will ever exist.
I can definitely, push back and say, okay, I understand that at least. Even if it is overpaying, it's probably going to be insanely expensive in the first place.
That's something I think you could brag about.
Yeah. The perfect Black Lotus?
I don't know, man. It's cool, I guess, but still just cardboard.
And it's an
I don't
online
really
collector
understand
who
this.
a lot
I
of
don't
money
really
on this
understand
shit.
collecting things like this, but that's just because I'm not a collector of things.
As a collector, but I'm a collector that also has a practicality that I'm like, if it's too much, I just don't want to not be able to do it. It's too much trouble, too much money.
I understand collecting because I have friends who collect N64 games and GameCube games. That has value in the sense you are preserving a piece of media.
Yep.
This is cardboard.
I mean, I think, in a sense, this actually has the same concept. You can preserve a piece of culture. However,
yeah,
I don't think it's worth 300.
I also don't think
to preserve a piece of culture.
No, it's definitely not worth $3 million.
It's not a painting by a famous painter. I'm not a big fan of paintings, but I understand their cultural significance, a lot more than this.
I am a fan of paintings. I would also not pay $3 million for a painting.
I'm sorry, paintings are kind of neutral for me. I go to an art museum and I'm like, that's fine, and I move on. I don't really have that brain thing to sit and watch it and mull over its greatness. It's neat.
That's because paintings nowadays are garbage used to.
Paintings have always. That is the thing about high art. It is just money laundering.
No. It's okay. More honestly, there's probably some cases where it's money laundering. It's more often tax fraud. Basically.
Let me put it this way. I went to the Louvre. I've been there. I saw the Mona Lisa. I saw it for about 5 seconds, and I was like, "That's neat."
Cool, and then you leave. I don't think I don't think you can take pictures of it.
I don't think I could have.
I mean,
but there was a lot of stuff like that.
I think history museums are way more. History museums are way more interesting than
going to an art history museum would be cool, but
that'd be cool.
Going just an art museum, I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah, so I do want to say though, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so no, there actually is a process, and this has actually been described. That this is what happens in a number of cases. A rich person hires an artist for $3,000 to paint them a painting. Then they take it to their friend who's also rich, and they appraise it for $10 million. Then they go and donate to an art museum, and they have now just donated 10 million to a charity and can write that off on their taxes.
That's
for
our
$3,000.
trade. That's the art trade.
Yeah,
That's actually how it works.
So there's only one painting I think I would ever buy. It is specifically the painting from the Street Fighter movie that is M. Bison doing the Napoleon painting that's very famous.
Anyway.
My partner
Yeah.
hates that. My partner has told me if I ever buy that, he will break up with me.
That's why you have to, like, make it big so you can be like, but I have money that I can share with this.
I have on record, if I ever get an absurd amount of money, I am buying a print of it. And it is going to go in our house.
Alright, let's get some more topics in here. So we have a brand new in the Arkham Horror Gamebook series, which is, I don't know what it's supposed to be different. What? It's an announcement message in my chat window.
I don't know. Is there an announcement message?
Oh, I see what happened. I clicked to, like, copy paste, and it copied just a forward slash.
Nice.
Bobby.
Oh, so it probably was like trying to do like a command.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just doing a command. I always forget these commands exist.
I really enjoy these. Yes, Foggy. You just lie down on the bed.
Oh, I forgot. That actually reminds me. I forgot to do the shout out before I left my stream. I normally shout out this at the end of my stream. So I use the shout out command more than anything else.
So I guess these game books, just from reading up on this a little bit, it sounds like kind of individual, like kind of roleplay adventures. But, like, I don't really know what they're supposed to be, because they don't define them very well here.
Let's read this.
I
I would assume, judging by this, that they are just little adventures.
Yeah. My best guess.
Yeah, they just look like adventures, like individual adventures.
Yeah, and we're getting some for their Arkham Horror Investigators get able. No, you're gonna kind of bother me some more. It's a neat idea, and we're seeing some stuff from Fantasy Flight / Arkham Horror, which is nice. So I'm not against it completely. I don't know if this would be up my alley for a thing, because, I mean, it might be an interesting kind of story art roleplay experience.
That these games are done better in person.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing too. Is like I look at this and I'm like, this feels like an in person.
You think with the horror kind of stuff, or is this a board game thing? What is this?
Well, Arkham Horror is
it's a
very
board
Cthulhu.
game, and this is an RPG of the
know.
board game.
Okay, because that's the thing that keeps confusing me about this. Okay, yeah.
Arkham
so
Horror,
so,
the board
but I wasn't
game,
certain.
spawned a series of related content. There's
Yeah.
like a bunch of other types of games related to it. Like Elder Sign was a dice game that I liked a lot based around it because it was quicker.
I've never played this because it's new, but I know Call of Cthulhu works better in person because Call of Cthulhu relies on props, which are harder to do on, like, props you can manipulate and things, which is harder to do in a digital setting, depending on the depending on the program you're using.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I'm not like where the props come in for Call of Cthulhu.
It's because you use props to investigate for clues, and that kind of thing. Like, clues can be hidden on props and things. That's how it's intended to be played, but you don't have to play it like that because that is a lot of prep work to get props.
I literally have been reading through the Call of Cthulhu 7th edition, and nothing about that is
Well, they could have changed some things for 7th edition too. Honestly,
yeah, like I literally don't know. I've been reading through the rulebook lately because I've been thinking of running it, and I do not know what you're talking about.
It could be that could be something that's not really in 7th edition.
It is a 43-year-old system.
Yeah, it's a 43-year-old system.
Yeah,
so that could be much more.
I mean, it's
classic.
entirely possible that it's in one of the older editions, but no, I'm just like.
Well, again, like I think it's sort of like one of those things. Is it's a lot harder to create an atmosphere for something horror related when you're not in person. Also,
It does hurt it a bit because of reaction time. I have actually heard that, but I
Also, like-
kind of disagree. I think you can,
Well-
I think you can still do it pretty good.
I mean, like, you have to have your players set up for it too. Like, have your lights off or something like that. But also, like, you can't have any kind of distraction, which you can. It's doable, but it's difficult on an online format. That's why I'm saying it's not impossible for the online format. I just feel like it has some challenges in comparison to the in-person. I can understand it when you kind of look at it. So, I mean, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think it depends, but yeah.
Anyway, so here's an interesting one, and I'm gonna tell you, I thought about maybe not talking about this, but it is enough of, like, it feels something important to talk about because, it's in the tabletop world, and these are some articles from Tabletop Gaming News that I got, that are about a Wonders of the First, which is a CCG, but there's also a website for it that talks about blockchain.
Awesome.
So it's also an NFT. And also,
Very cool.
here's the two articles. I'll share both of them. And you can link to their Kickstarter, which is incredibly successful, will I tell you. But if you look at the backer evidence, they were talking about it. There are 25 backers at the 4,350 and 48 backers at the highest tier of 8,250. Which
That's
sounds
not suspicious at all.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, that there's suspicious stuff about the entire thing, definitely. So it feels very much so NFT scheme, but it does have a Kickstarter for a physical thing. So I don't know. It's just a weird situation.
So wait, so there's like 25 at their top tier and 25 at their next tier or something?
No,
you said?
25 at their at second highest, and 48 at their top tier. 48 people have pledged 8,250 as of the time of this article.
Okay.
Which I've opened the Kickstarter, which is at 1,414 with a goal of 2,500 or 25,000. And this is a untested people with a product that, is original. And getting to those numbers, I'm not saying people couldn't, but that's kind of also suspicious because that's the kind of thing you get for, like, hey, this is a, this property game, someone's doing the Elden Ring board game, a Resident Evil board game, or something like that.
Yeah.
There's 57 people that they say backers at the 8,250 for their Supernova, and 29 for the 4,350 right now, as it says for me.
Like, first off, obviously, if you're selling something for that much, you clearly are inflating your value. Because there's no way that your cards are going to be at any point worth that much. Because just reading what is here is definitely not enough to justify that price.
Oh. And if you go, there is a link to the Wonders of the First website. And I will tell you, what is Wonders of the First? I'm going to read this off here, which is going to tell you everything about it. Wonders of the First is a groundbreaking collectible adventure franchise built on the blockchain using blending of art-forward storytelling, Web3 technology, AI innovations. The project boasts a never-before-seen collection of 5,000 unique one-on-one characters brought to life through human imagination, AI, and meticulous hand refinement. Yes.
Oh, it just sounds like a tech bro heard about card games. Like, I can make one.
This is tech.
No, that honestly, I'm pretty sure what that is. Yeah, it's basically just someone went and made a bunch of AI art, maybe looked them over and maybe did some minor touch-ups with probably more AI to get rid of weird bits, and then slapped some effects on them and was like, "I made a card game."
Look, I'm gonna tell you,
an NFT as well.
They also, I like how one of these articles linked a Twitter reach out from the creators, one of the creators of the project, who just basically called them not an NFT game, and they don't say that. But I'm sorry, the official website, which is linked, mentions all the NFT stuff.
I'm going to, and I don't really think you have a way to show this on stream, but I'm going to screenshot this. I'm gonna put it in Discord.
Mhm.
You could, in theory, quickly add
Yeah,
a
this
image.
looks like
Let me just grab
AI art to me.
Let me.
Don't look right.
Let me go back and I can.
And this is just from the
Oops.
Kickstarter page. But
So
one that is the style of like every AI art. That sort of
Yeah,
art style.
it is.
And it doesn't look quite right, but I need to get like a more detailed look at it.
There you go. It's kind of showable.
Yeah.
It's not
But yeah,
great.
you might not be too far off on that. They probably just generated some art and then maybe took the best ones and tried to make them a little better with touch-ups.
It feels like maybe this is like physical NFTs actually, or something weird. You know, I don't know. It feels scammy. It feels weird. They're talking about blockchain, Web3, and all the tech bro stuff, and using AI generated stuff. So,
I
yeah,
hate tech bros that are like this.
and definitely
yeah.
speaking.
So it does straight up on the Kickstarter page say yes. I plan to use AI generated content in this product.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, why?
So you're just kind of admitting to theft. Good one, bro. You can't really copyright these images because of that. This just makes it so messy.
Yeah, no, this is potentially a legal nightmare in the near future.
Yeah, this is.
Also, I do want to say there's one where it's like a. Oh gosh, honestly, I found a more AI-like image than.
The more I look at it, the more I'm
Look,
like, yeah.
if you want to go to the links for everything else, the article has the links to everything else. I'm not linking them. I'm going to say that now. I am like, this is just the worst of the worst when it comes to a lot of this tech stuff here. Like, this is what ruins good. Like, I'm not saying like, you know, we talked about how like there's possibilities for good ideas in the future in stuff related to some things with like AI and stuff like that. Okay, great. This is bad steps in the direction. This is bad faith stuff. This is people using it for money so and money bad. Alone. This is just bad. I'm gonna take a look here.
That's so bad. Anyways, this can go burn in a trash fire.
So bad.
Yeah,
so AI and so bad.
It's AI in the worst degree.
Sorry, I saw that. I'm like, I need to.
Also, like, there's a link to a YouTube video which, like, someone mentioned it was the second worst card game ever made.
Yeah, I did look this up, and the first video I saw was, this is not a real card game.
Yeah. So, hey, if you see it, please don't be scammed.
Bro, like, it's so bad. At least try harder on your scam.
It's going to maybe float around for 25 more days. Avoid the scam.
Dude will make his money and then he'll disappear.
Yeah.
And then probably be sued into oblivion.
Yeah. If they can find him.
Yeah.
Which hopefully they do.
Let's talk about something a little bit more interesting and not criminal. So apparently, for Age of Sigmar in Warhammer, they're introducing a new game mode. That's supposed to be quicker. Spearhead. Which, look, I'm going to tell you, I know very little about Warhammer and actually how it's played, so I can't tell you everything about how Spearhead works, but it's supposed to be...
I'm reading it. Hold on.
You know, use self-contained existing boxes of miniatures to play fast and furious games with streamlined rules and nail-biting finishes.
Okay, it's like pre-built armies and yes, like streamlined rules for them. That's fine. This is something that is kind of needed because Warhammer games take fucking forever.
Yes.
Half the time.
Yes, I think that's one of the things I've heard about a lot. So having like a quick games,
yeah,
like you can kind of
like
dive into.
A Warhammer game can take like hours.
So
you have to set time aside to play one.
If this is successful, maybe they'll bring something like this to 40K.
I think 40K has this already. Something similar. I know they have a bunch of spin-off games like Kill Team and stuff.
Yeah. So,
Age of Sigmar is very much playing catch up with 40K at this point because it's the less liked one, so they put less investment into it up until now.
Yeah,
I hope it becomes popular because I do think it's in a good place now.
Yeah. So I guess it's like also like the boxes are meant to be like if you wanted to use them in a traditional game of Warhammer from Age of Sigmar, you could, but it also like this specific group could be used with Spearhead if you want to just do something quick and dirty. You know, so it has the double options. It sounds like. So, just a quick announcement. I will link their page just to mention it because this one's a very quick one. Fantasy Grounds is hitting the 20th anniversary.
Damn.
They're having a sale on their licenses to make them
need
cheaper.
To hear that.
Yes, so in Fantasy Ground, you get a license for it that, you know, I think you renew annually or you get a lifetime one. I think is that how it works, I believe? I can't remember how the license works.
I don't know how Fantasy Ground works specifically.
I remember...
I know it has one-time pricing. I don't remember if it's this one or a different one where everyone has to buy it.
I know...
There's one where everyone has to buy Fantasy Ground. Or has to buy the VTT. I don't remember which one that is.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but it's basically you can get a monthly or the lifetime license, and the lifetime license is on sale for their anniversary for like another week. So.
Okay, it is not Fantasy Ground is one of the ones where only the GM has to buy it.
Okay, cool.
Which is good. I do not remember what the one where everyone has to buy it is.
I know I've heard of that one, but there's a bunch of these that are there.
There are so many virtual tabletops now. I cannot keep track of all of them.
Anyway, I just wanted to mention that in case people were interested in it. It's another system. If you... Again, like, I like Roll20, but I also recognize Roll20 isn't useful for every game or every situation.
Yeah, Roll20 is, like, good for most games, but there's a lot of games where it just doesn't really work that well for...
Yeah, I feel like Roll20 is that kind of, like, vanilla.
It's the baseline.
Yeah,
it's the free one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you want something a little bit more fancy, Fantasy Ground might be for you. If you look into it, there's a good time to look into it. So, with the sale. The lifetime one being 50 for the ultimate lifetime license, you know, you have forever.
50 ain't bad for a lifetime license.
Yep. Sad they already bought it for 100, so
yeah.
That's like half off though.
That is half off. That's pretty good.
So, this one I wanted to talk about because it is related to tabletop and it is related to Elden Ring, but it's not really directly able to Elden Ring. It's related to the people that own FromSoft. Mm-hmm. Kodokawa has now basically for an unknown amount purchased a what is this?
Arclight.
Arclight. Arclight is the people that have FromSoft. That's right. Arclight has purchased Kodokawa, which is a big Japanese board game tabletop person.
Yeah.
So this is kind of interesting because Arclight now has their own tabletop branch, pretty much. Again, Arclight has more probably than just FromSoft, but FromSoft is one of their more notable, you know, holdings under them. When you kind of like, you know, oh hey, yeah, they have FromSoft, the studio, under them. So like, you know, Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Elden Ring are, you know, in that kind of area that there might have some...
You have it backwards. Kodokawa is the one that owns FromSoft. Arclight
no, and Arclight is the company they bought? Yeah. Oh, I'm fucking...
It's worded in a weird way, I get it.
Yes, thank you. So Kodokawa, the people that own FromSoft, have bought Arclight, the Japanese board game publisher. That's basically an old... It's kind of, I guess, like how we would talk about big names in... Are, you know, like Wizards, Chaosium.
Goes to website to see what they've made.
A couple other, probably, that I can think of off the top of my head. Games Workshop. They're old tabletop companies that we would recognize. And this would be one of them. Again, they're in the Japanese market, so I can't say I really know about their stuff, unfortunately. It's,
I
market.
know that they translate games to Japanese.
Yeah.
I know they are the publisher of the Japanese version of Terraforming Mars.
Yeah.
I don't know what Japanese-specific games they own, because I do not know many Japanese.
Okay, so according to Board Game Geek, they publish and distribute not only many European American games in Japanese versions, but also Japanese version of games. They publish a bi-weekly board and board game magazine called Game Link. They edit an RPG magazine named Roll and Roll. They have an antenna shop named Roll and Roll Station, a TCG chain store chain named Hobby Station, and they manage the Japanese Game Convention annually from 1996. They also manage the biggest board gaming events from Game Market, 2 times at Tokyo, 1 time at Osaka every year. So they do a lot. So this is like a big tabletop company, I would say, from all that stuff.
There's something mentioned in this article I feel like we missed months ago, but I'll bring that up later.
Okay.
A little blurb here that mentions something I feel like we didn't talk about that we probably should have talked about months ago.
Interesting. What did we miss?
Larian is making a Divinity Original Sin board game. I don't think we ever
been...
talked about that.
No.
That has been... Oh, that's been... Wait, hold on. Yeah,
like
I've known
board
about
game.
That was
that for a while. I've known about that for a long
time.
Oh
my god!
I don't think we ever talked about that on this show.
Because it pops up every time you go to play Baldur's Gate. It pops up with an ad for it.
No.
So
That is something that has been around for actually quite some time. Oh my god. The Divinity Original Sin board game, yeah.
Apparently it got a Kickstarter back in March. So, that's cool.
Oh yeah, that you finally had it back in March.
Yeah, it's been announced for a while. It's okay, yeah. Yeah, I guess it's coming out soon.
I think because I think it was a number of years ago. Like,
I don't know if we ever talked.
I don't remember
if
it was like a PAX Unplugged or somewhere.
Okay.
They were previewing something a number of years ago on what they were working on for Divinity, and I think
I've been on the show since this was announced. I don't think we ever once mentioned its existence, but it's out now, so you can go play it.
Yeah, I think because it's just
Divinity Original Sin, but just in board game format, and that's great, because Divinity Original Sin 2 is a great game. Anyway, sorry to sidetrack. I just felt like we should.
I'm trying to remember when I originally saw stuff on this, because this was a long.
The Kickstarter was from 2020.
Oh, the Kickstarter was from 2020.
Yeah, and I think it came out.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
so,
it's very recent. It came out very recent.
Oh, that makes sense then. Then it was. If it was in 2020, they had the Kickstarter. It was the 2020 PAX East, which was the last PAX East I went to. That's where I saw them showing it off for the Kickstarter. Oh, yeah. So it's finally out. Cool.
Hey, it came out last year, apparently, towards the end of last year.
Neat.
That's pretty cool.
I guess I'll
Anyways, I don't know. I just saw a little blurb on Dice where it's like, "Hey, you should play this because it's from the makers of Baldur's Gate 3."
Yeah, I saw that blurb too. Now that when you pointed it out, I saw it too.
We're talking about it. I'll link to their yeah, that was something that coming physically out. I completely missed. So this was an interesting thing I heard about that I thought we wouldn't talk about because it was related in the tabletop space, and for basically for Edgerunners, for Cyberpunk Edgerunners, the anime's writer and director is working with the Cyberpunk creator Mike Pondsmith to work on some stuff that they've been doing, like missions and stuff.
Yeah, they did a mission kit for this.
They're building like character backstories and stuff to make the Edgerunners characters.
Yeah, I saw this mentioned, and I didn't know if I should bring it up because I didn't know how packed the week would be, but apparently it's a pretty tame week, I guess.
Mixed bag. It was a lot of like little things that felt like this week, mostly a couple like nice small.
Hey, I like Cyberpunk Red, and I also like the anime. You should watch the anime; it's very good.
I think it's a neat idea. It helps for crossing the streams of media. So I'm definitely like, they're doing a lot of interesting things with Cyberpunk Red. Apparently now we're getting this. We were talking about
Red just kind of like hit its stride.
We were talking about
partly because of the show,
like the Valhalla crossover they did for free before. So like, there's some good stuff going on around here, for it. So
yeah, Red I think is hit its. People have finally been like, it's actually pretty good because it's just 2020 but updated for the modern audience.
Yeah. So the Edgerunners mission kit is coming out, and they'll have a lot of stuff that they're working together. The people the writer for the anime and then the creator to create some neat stuff there. That's kind of a neat idea too. Yeah. So okay. I got a lot of. Why don't we start off with the neatest thing here to talk about from Modiphius? Because then we got a couple of small releases I just want to mention because they look a little interesting. And I think they're published releases rather than direct, Modiphius. Because they would scream about it more if it was something they made rather than just their publishing. But the first off is they do talk about Star Trek Adventures First Edition compatibility. And this is a good thing to talk about, especially with the second edition coming up, on the different things you have to do to make stuff compatible.
Also, we can add in the Mongoose stuff. Mongoose thing. One thing.
You'll remember to link it at the end, and we'll add the Mongoose stuff at the end too. Mongoose Releases. I'll put it on the end of my schedule. I'm not going to update the online docket. I'll put it on the one for later. So, okay, cool. It talks about updates to starships, non-player characters, extended taps, core mechanics, all that kind of things, and it's really simple stuff, honestly. They haven't done any super major changes to the system, but it's enough for that if you want to check it out and kind of work on it. They do talk about it. Things like, because a lot of species have specifically species ability now in the new book, and they're only presenting 14 in the new core rulebook. If you're playing an older species they're stat for, you'd have to work with your game master to come with an appropriate thing for it, but you can kind of figure it out by looking at those to kind of figure it out and stuff like that and build it. So if you want to update between first edition and second edition, it should not be too difficult to process theoretically. So that's the big thing to talk about, with this, and that's a good thing. So anyway, as for the 3 books that they definitely published that seemed interesting, first off was the One More Quest book, which is basically a dungeon fighting adventure kind of comical role-playing game with dex-based kind of stuff. Basically, you have to throw dice at a target as part of it.
Oh.
So this is one you really do have to do in person, I would guess, too. Or maybe desperately try to get the...
Be able to work.
Yeah, desperately try to get the throwing stuff in Tabletop Sim to work. Good luck on that one. Tabletop Sim, maybe. But you really couldn't do this kind of game without person or something maybe like Tabletop Sim, unfortunately. But, hey, it's a neat idea. Combining dexterity-based tabletop games, which I'm not super a fan of, but I know there's plenty of people that are fans of those kind of things with that. Then, I think this is another of, I remember this game from before, but I don't remember when they put it out. Rangers of Shadowdeep, they're doing another book for it, Gathering of Heroes, so if you've, again, played that in the past from them, you might want to check it out. And then the final one I just want to throw out there is a tactical tabletop zombie survival one, Country Road Z. So a couple of published books by Modiphius, just interesting kind of things there. They threw out a bunch of them, but these were the most interesting of them. So, it's Modiphius. They do their own stuff. They publish a lot of other things, too. So, keep an eye on their stuff. Let me shut them up. Then, we did have an article that was brought to me, so we got 3 more topics to talk about, including the Mongoose one. The first one is, of course, that Wizards / Hasbro is planning on spending $1 billion on video games, which is a lot. And they want to bring things like Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, they said they promised the quality and they'll be quality and authentic like Baldur's Gate 3, which is unlikely.
Looking at the last couple of D&D games, I'm gonna guess no. The last couple, besides Baldur's Gate 3, have been pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not saying they can't have good games.
You can't just throw money and hope it makes a good game. The reason Baldur's Gate worked is because you had people talking to Larian pretty frequently, and you fired all of those people.
Yeah,
yes.
You fired all the people who made the game as it is, so those who were passionate enough to make the game work. Because passion is honestly the biggest way to make a good game, not money.
You had Larian, who does a really good job. You know, Larian has a certain level.
They actually stated at one point that their goal as the people who started the company, their goal was almost life goal was to make the next Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Ever since Baldur's Gate 2, they've been making games.
Yeah. And I enjoyed Divinity Original Sin 2. It's like Divinity Original Sin 2, very fun, but it's got some issues just with some of the systems and stuff. I will tell you that, like, you know, can definitely hit you.
3 has some issues.
Baldur's Gate 3 has, I think, a lot more issues.
Yeah, again, that's like basically like kind of system issues and stuff like that. That's kind of hard to recreate, stuff like that. But like the storytelling, the worlds they build are very good. And in the case of like their own, that's their own. Yes, great. But like when they did Baldur's Gate 3, they had people in the actual D&D world that could advise them, help them, you know, put them in like, you know, hey, they've got a question about something, they can give the answer for it. That's kind of the official stuff that they want them to do to build this really good world. They fired all those people, and now they're just like, where are they going with this? I don't know. Like, are they hiring on other studios again? Are they doing it in-house?
Like they're probably going to throw money at another studio to make it. But I don't know if there is a good studio to do a D&D game like Baldur's Gate 3.
I don't think they can do a Baldur's Gate 3.
I don't think anything will, in a very long time, will be like Baldur's Gate 3. It's very unlikely to have something of that passion level.
It's got a extreme degree of passion.
Yep. Tell the people who made it loved their project, like, dearly.
Yeah, I think they can make good. I mean, it's not out of the question that people could make good games.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, they say, like Baldur's Gate.
Are you going to make a game that wins all 5 major Game of the Year awards? Probably not.
I think that's the thing is, setting your sights for Baldur's Gate 3 is too high.
Yeah, I think the CEO of Larian has said, don't hold us to the standard, please. It's literally not possible.
Yeah,
they said everything came together right for this game to come out as it did. Larian themselves have said that.
Yeah. It was luck, timing, situation, all that kind of stuff that built Baldur's Gate 3. So it's a situation that you really can't replicate. I'm not saying it's not something like that won't happen again, but as you've been saying, you know, it's something that we're not going to see something like that. We're not going to see the same thing, but something like that to that degree, we're probably not going to see for years. That's something that hits that lightning of the perfect time, perfect schedule. It'll probably be an entirely different game, which hits that lightning of what Baldur's Gate 3 was. And maybe we'll see it. Who knows when we will. I'm guessing with people with passion and stuff, we probably will see it at one point in time, but that's a question of when. But Larian, they're going to do good stuff. Like, I would say, like, if you expect things on the level of, like, their Divinity series, that's what you can just go for Divinity. Those are still really good games, you know, and that's still, like, very solid. And, you know, if you could say, like, you know, if they can match that level of something in Divinity 2 again, that's great. And so, okay. Anyway, again, going back to that, Baldur's Gate 3, terrible idea to compare anything to at this point.
No, it's not. You really should not compare anything to Baldur's Gate 3 because it's such a unique game in what it accomplished.
Again, I understand Hasbro, Wizards, they're proud of it. But they just don't understand because of, like, that enough.
They saw how much money it made, and we're like, we should make another one like this.
We're going to throw 1 billion games into it.
It'll print money, right? That's how games work. Just put the name on it.
Okay, so it's...
Yeah.
$1 billion is invested into 4 video game studios owned by Hasbro. It says in the article.
I'm not sold on any of the idea, especially because they expressed they want to do a Baldur's Gate 4, which I feel like you just don't do that like for a while, right?
I agree. I feel like trying to come up with like a new one right away is basically, you know, whipping the horse while it's like running out of steam. You know, it's like
so many places you can set a D&D game.
Like I can see like
the whole
if
thing of
you
Baldur's
want
Gate is the Baldur's Gate area, so
yeah.
I can see like doing something rooted in the world and lore of Fate. You know, I think we could do something like that. It's not going to be Baldur's Gate 3, but certainly you could do something rooted in the world, and I think that wouldn't be too bad if they take that direction of it. But again, I don't know. We're just gonna have to see how it goes. Like, I don't.
Again, it's a bunch of CEOs who said, "Oh, this idea is what sold, not the effort put into it."
Yeah. I don't even know what kind of D&D game I'd want after Baldur's Gate. That would be real.
Honestly, I think they could do a new like Neverwinter one.
They could.
I don't think it should be like an MMO, but they could definitely do like one set. Neverwinter,
okay, look, I'm not gonna lie. The first comment that it's giving me from this thing, and I'm just gonna have to like it here. I'm just gonna say, you know,
the one about magic being like I don't have a good feeling.
No, is it? I'm actually never supporting them in the slightest.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, it's like, yep. Well, you know, actually, you know, definitely, I can see that. I can see that, honestly, unfortunately. So this was brought to my attention by another friend who I was chatting with a little while, a friend of the channel from years ago, Tiv, who it was nice to hear from him again. But he was talking about...
Alive?
He's alive. He works 50-hour work weeks, so...
Okay.
Barely alive. Mm-hmm. But, so, you know... But he mentioned there was the XP to level 3... that they did a Fallout TTRPG, and I didn't even know they had done this. So it's another TTRPG.
Yeah.
It's using 5e.
It's using 5e as a shell.
Yep.
We should say they use D20s.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. I really did enjoy the 2D20 Fallout when, Momo, you ran it, and we playtested it, and I got a chance.
Times.
Yeah, I did the one time with you. And I had a chance to like look at that system. I'm not going to say this is not a better or worse system because I haven't tested it, but
I didn't read this because I forgot to, but I think it would, it would appeal to people who probably like combat a lot more, being it's based on just a single D20 system that is using the shell of 5e's combat rules.
Yeah. I think that's the thing is if you're leaning more into the combat side of a Fallout game, which there definitely are a lot of adventures in Fallout that get into combat a lot more than
it is a combat game because you're in a world full of horrible raiders and mutants.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would definitely kind of, again, just from like a little bit of cursory research, and I can read over a little bit of it, I didn't go super deep. You know, my feeling is your 2D20 system is a little bit more all around. This is a little bit more focused on, like, you know, it works better for the combat system. I'm interested in some other aspects of it that I really didn't have a chance to dive into. So, I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm saying, you know, it depends maybe on the stories you want to tell. And if you're interested in something that you feel like the 2D20 system doesn't quite fit what you need, this might be one to check.
Yeah, I will say 2D20 doesn't fit for everyone because obviously if you're more used to a single D20 system, you're obviously probably going to like that a lot more. Mm-hmm. But there's a reason why I like 2D20 a lot more for character-based role-playing games, and it's because in 2D20, the core rules are basically the players... The GM almost has like very little control over what the players do. It's on the players to tell the GM what they want to do. here's the skills I want to roll for this, and then the GM makes up a difficulty. In 5e, it's a lot more. You can do that, but there's a lot more of the GM telling you what kind of check to make specifically for this instance. And then you can debate with the GM what you want to use. Whereas 2d20 is built on players always tell the GM what skills they want to roll.
Yeah, it's definitely like situational, in which I would call better or worse.
I think they're both great systems.
I can say I can agree.
It depends on what you're playing.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is a big thing where it's all like people kind of trying to adapt 5e to everything. Like, I feel like that's kind of the thing right now, is to mod 5e into something else. But honestly, there's multiple systems for a reason.
Yeah.
Some of them do better at different things. Like, I mean, I think like, honestly, Call of Cthulhu is great for horror.
5e
I mean,
will
you could
always
probably
do
a horror game without. It's
5e
not set
will
in
always
Cthulhu with-
do okay at everything, because it's a system built to be okay at everything.
Yeah.
But it's never going to be perfect for everything. So that's why I am of the opinion you should look at other systems. But if you really like how 5th edition plays, this might be better for you if you want to do a Fallout game. Because it is more what you're used to, and you don't have to learn as much.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
You can look into it, if you're interested in it or not. It's a thing to consider. So, Worm, what are you linking to for us today? For
Yes, let me
Mongoose?
grab that right now. Where's the page? I had it open. There you are.
You talk about Mongoose gaming.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it's like, I've been mostly linking their Traveler stuff, and yes, I pay most attention to it, but also, I try not to link, like, adventure modules, because, like, with that, I'm like, okay, yeah, people can look into that on their own. They come out with those, like, once a week, maybe, or once every, like, 2 to 3 weeks, I say they come out with
Often
those.
enough, we can say.
But most of their supplemental stuff that's, like, just, like, here's information about something is Traveler, like, their paranoia, their other stuff, they don't do as much with. But Traveler, they seem to just always be releasing, like, supplementary material. And that's the kind of stuff I like to link, because, in general, this book, I already bought it and downloaded it, can be used for a lot of stuff. It's basically just going over, like, I don't think there's even any rules or mechanics in here so far as I've seen, just skimming through it. It's literally just, here's how a starship can work. Here's how the plumbing works. It's literally, the idea is just, like, starship operations, like, like, what might you see in, like, medical, need for, like, medical emergencies. It's
cool.
surprisingly, like, staterooms and, like, sizes and stuff. Like, it's literally just, like, really someone just put a bunch of thought and wrote out a whole bunch of stuff into, like, how everything works. I mean, there's literally a diagram of how, like, a manual override would work for a, hatch, for, like, a iris hatch. In here.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like, okay, it's just interesting, it's just a bunch of, like, interesting information. They do that with some of their supplements, where it's just like, here's just a bunch of information. There's no rules in here, it's just information. Okay, there are some tables and stuff you can roll on, like cargo container, roll, table, 2 of them. Like what you might find in a cargo container or something, but yeah.
Cool.
Things about computers, cybersecurity. Jeez, is this a bunch of stuff? Oh, there's a kitty. Sorry, one of the pictures is just a cat in front of an open.
I thought I was getting invaded again. Foggy left. Foggy was here for a while, and then Foggy decided, I'm gonna guess my mother came home instead.
Yeah.
And that's why she left. She was like, I'm gonna hang around with you until, like, people come around.
Yeah. So it's literally, if you're like, I mean, besides the Traveler talk, they often use, like, tech levels and stuff, and, like, they have, like, certain types of, their universe has certain degrees of, like, expectations of, like, the way certain things work.
Neat.
But beyond that, honestly, you could probably adapt a lot of this into any system. So I like it when they release stuff like this. They just do sometimes, where it's just like, here's this information. The last one was like, the last one I saw like this was the it was special ops. So it's like basically the kind of equipment you'd have in like different loadout. It was more generic, but it was like the kind of teams you'd want to put together. Like you'd want someone who's good with explosives. You'd want someone who's good with like in this kind of team. You know, it was just kind of like special operations teams. It was like just a lot of information. So I like when they do stuff like this. It's kind of just interesting.
I think that's it for our docket. Why don't we talk about our week in gaming, and we'll see where that ends up, and then maybe we'll hit our deeper discussion topic, or maybe I will save that for next week, just so that
we have time to rest in between this.
Yeah, a little extra time isn't necessarily bad too, you know. I was aiming for originally just an hour, but a little extra time to rest in between things like if I was hungry, so feel a little bit more information. Okay. Did anybody do anything last Sunday?
I
know.
had a game last Sunday.
Ooh.
Lightning is in the. We talked to a war crimey man and got information on the wizard we have to kill or something. He's making flesh monsters, so he's pretty bad. We got a bunch of lore, and then we broke into an abandoned house, and found stuff.
Neat. Yay, war crimes and lore.
I probably did some. I mean, I'm gonna be real. Every one of our characters except our rogue was in that war, and we probably all are complacent in doing war crimes.
Yeah.
It was against kobolds and goblins who are not people.
I mean, most
Hooray,
of the time.
War crimes.
Yay, war crimes. I mean, you and me, Worm, we had Joe's game.
We did.
Yeah, we've been doing that game. I haven't heard from that in a while.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like an
I-
every other week game.
Okay,
so-
look.
It's an every other week game, and we had to skip a week
Mhm.
because of Easter.
Yeah. We ended up skipping an entire session, so we just waited 4 weeks, though, before we got back here. So, we basically got back, rested. We met with someone showed up that was like a important member of the city to talk to us. Afterwards, someone showed up to arrest us,
Nice.
Yeah.
which was
I mean,
just like...
This is
I'm gonna tell you.
part of the reason I went along with it was metagamey, and I'm all like,
Did you guys do
I
war
know
crimes?
Joe
Is that
well.
why you're getting arrested?
I know Joe well enough to know he's going to railroad the hell out of this part.
Oh no, he
Because
was.
he has an idea.
I was going, like, as soon as I knew what he was doing, I played my character to a T and
Yup.
fought this. I did eventually give in, but I made it difficult to railroad us this bad. Because I just pointed out the massive amount of holes he had in this entire concept.
That's why I'm probably not guesting for that game again, because I did not enjoy the railroadiness. But I know it's just how Joe runs his games sometimes. If he gets an idea and he wants to do that idea.
It was the idea that, like, we were getting arrested for something, but the thing is, it's like, it was
What was
so...
your crime? What'd you do?
Crimes against the multiverse.
Well, okay. So here's the thing: they were
That's
false
so
charges.
broad.
And they were but they were false charges anyway. Was the idea? We knew that, but the people were all like, "We're here to arrest you. Oh, we're not supposed to ask questions. We're just here to do our job." Like,
Look, I'm just gonna tell you, Crimes Against the Multiverse sounds incredibly awful. Like, that sounds like the worst crime you can do. You know, I'm sorry. If someone tell me, like, your Crimes Against the Multiverse, I'm like, is that person, like, executed now or whatever? They've, like, tried to destroy the multiverse, probably?
The way your character talks is a crime against the multiverse.
I don't know what you're talking about. He's just fine.
Yeah, that's a crime against the multiverse. Straight to prison.
Hi, adventure, now you're here?
I do find it funny though. My character is the most. I love it. I love the way I'm playing. He's just the most naive character when it comes to social situations.
That cat right there has done some crimes against the multiverse.
Oh, God. No, she has, definitely.
Honestly, I think I knew where Joe was going with that concept. It was probably portal tampering, because supposedly we were at a place where a portal was tampered with. But,
yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, yeah, that probably could have just been portal tampering. And,
I also feel like there are parts of the way he set up things that that screamed, like, when I try to think about it the way my character would think about, like, shenanigans. And that's also why I resisted very heavy. Like, because again, like, if someone's charged with crimes against the multiverse, I feel like they would send a large group of people instead of, like, 3.
Agreed.
Yeah, so I was definitely like, this is way too suspicious. But anyway,
Yeah.
then
But
we ended up going to jail. Someone broke us out, who was
Yep.
changing form, took us
Who had,
to like a
who had
secret
a hat of
place.
disguise.
Yeah, and then was like, hey, we can find out information about what's going on if we go to this other place through the secret Undercity. But on the way, we're gonna run into some people that, like, live down there, and we have to accept everything they offer us. I'm like, okay.
No, okay. What he said is he was not that direct. He said, "Do not refuse what you are offered." That's what they said. It was
Okay,
much more vague.
still. It was much more vague. You're right. And so it was these people serving up weird cakes and tea in the sewers, basically. And I'm glad Joe retconned it, but still, I'm vehemently against what he did to us. I'm gonna say that there. Like, not on a character level, I'm going to accept it, but I'm going to tell you,
agree with that, yeah.
there is one thing that's going to happen with my character, and I thought about this, and I'm like, we just met this random person. They said to us, "Oh, I never eat the cake." They never said that to us.
No, they said I usually just take the tea. I don't really, I don't really eat much.
But they said that afterwards, is what I'm saying.
I agree, yeah.
They
could have said that before. I agree with that.
Yeah, so which just sounds incompetent. It's kind of what my character would be thinking about.
Honestly, it more means like this person is. My character is more like, okay, this person might not have our best interests in heart.
Yes, if this character is supposed to be someone we trust, it's already dropped a lot of that. And I think that's the thing with that too. So I don't know what Joe wants to do with this character. If it's a character that's not supposed to be trustworthy, I think it'll end up fine. But if it's a character, because I'm sorry, Joe sometimes does this, that's supposed to be trustworthy, we're not in a good shape to be trusting. I certainly don't. So I don't know.
A lot of people you met need fireballed.
Oh god, yes, they all need to be fireballed. Anyway, no, fortunately Joe changed it that it's 1 to 4 days.
Okay,
because
the cake was made with Vargul blood, which is cursed. And we actually did detect poison and disease, and it came up with nothing. Because curses are magical.
Yeah.
They're not poisons or disease. Which I think was 100% fair.
Yes, it's 100% fair. And eating it, apparently there's no save, which just kind of annoys me too. But I guess that's mechanical. Like, that's actually... Because he's using this from something.
Yeah, unfortunately a lot of curses in 5e do not have saves.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. Like,
that annoys me about 5e, not about Joe's thing.
That's
and I know
that's
that's
a problem.
Yeah. That's something that I forgot about because I haven't run into it much with curses, but I also, I'm not a big fan of curse-related stuff for 5e. But anyway,
but yeah, the original module said 1d4 days.
No, 1d4 hours.
Sorry, 1d4 hours to cure yourself.
And then you die.
Oh, nice.
And then you die.
Because the original module has a reincarnation.
So we had, in theory, 3 hours, but he said the module, he forgets that the module has like a reincarnation mechanic. The module that he's stealing the stuff from has a reincarnation mechanic. So he changed it to days afterwards. But yeah.
It's still like a thing of like, hey, we're dying. We should be panicked. This kind of I just feel like my entire thing about it is it's not that it necessarily... There's a lot of details in the way it was presented that it feels just... I don't like the way it was presented to a degree. I don't...
Like, he did send a rat who said, it's too late, don't eat the cake, it's too late for me. There was, like, a rat. But it was, like, literally bloated and, like, unable to move, and I thought it just meant, like, it's going to die or something. Like
overeat.
Yeah.
Doing fine.
It was pretty vague.
But the thing is also, like, I was having stuff going on, like, I was trying to go to the bathroom, and then real life stuff happened afterwards. And I actually missed that part about the rat. I came in at the back end of, like, you were talking to a rat or something, but I didn't really know what was going on, and I didn't hear what it said, So Joe was like, "Oh, you missed that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I was doing stuff. I was trying to go to the bathroom first, and then afterwards people called on me, basically. So it was just an unfortunate situation that, like, and would it have changed my mind? I don't know. But basically, it sucks, don't eat the cake, and, you know, the tea would have been fine.
Yeah, like, honestly, that would have been a great part to have, like, the character, like, step in and be like, huh, I mean, I've never had the cake, but I don't know, you guys can try it if you want. You know, like, that might have been, like, you know, a comment she could have made, or
Look,
something.
I'm not going to bust Joe again here too much, but I'm just going to say I understand why he does it, because he likes the little, like, ha 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 moments. Because he was planning for us to be fine. But, yes.
Oh,
but
I know. He's a bit of he has a very like adversarial mindset, like, but also he then, like, you know, goes against that constantly. It's like this thing where it's all like, I need to outsmart the players, but then he also wants us to succeed because he wants the story to progress. It's this weird dichotomy where it's like, you know,
Yeah.
that's what this is the feeling I get sometimes, where it's all like, well, you control all this stuff, so you can easily outsmart us just by not giving us the information we need, you know?
It was fine. Like, this isn't, like, this certainly hasn't, like, turned me off to it, but it definitely, like, I was always, I feel like we've been pushed directly into the story a lot more now. It's a lot less open world. I have a lot of questions that are basically like, I want to know more for less the actual game story and more for, like, you know, the continuing the game and will it work, you know, kind of thing like that too. Like, you know,
I'm fine with it. I'm fine playing a somewhat two-dimensional character. Like, that's the thing, is I realize this character is not going to grow. There's not going to be room for him to grow or develop, you know. So I'm going to be playing a 2D character. That's fine. There's fun in that. And it'll just be fun to kind of explore the plot. It's kind of more like, you know, railroaded and have fun fighting things. That's basically where I'm at right now. You know,
just a
game.
fighty character. That's the thing, is like, I can respect my bard.
Yeah.
But I made a character for fun, you know, and you know, I guess I've been going a different direction in a lot of games, and I think that's a good choice. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Did anybody do anything on Monday?
Yeah, we did, Tantus. We had Rivers Gate.
I forget I have 4 games in a row nowadays.
Yeah, we beat up a vampire, who we beat up so hard that he kind of, like, vaguely surrendered, but was like, hey, please stop, I don't want to die.
And he gave us a deal that's like, this deal is
like,
just
fine.
It's not a great deal.
No, we can kill him later, though.
Yeah, like, my character's like, I really just, you know, you kind of are awful. I kind of want to kill
him later. The sewers fought a poo zombie.
Yeah, we did fight a poo zombie. We were like, that's unusual.
Then we left the sewers, like, fuck that. I'm out. Back later.
I just imagine it rather than, like, as a poo zombie. It was like Franken-poo.
It was just like a zombie covered in poop.
It was Frankenstein. Well, it was like a Frankenstein zombie.
Yeah, it was like
also in poop.
Sewed together monstrosity. Pretty terrible.
What led up to a poop Frankenstein?
We made a deal with a vampire to go...
Because the vampire, we can't kill him permanently because he has to be killed in his coffin, right?
Yep.
So we discovered that where his coffin was, effectively. And so we were like, okay, his coffin, he can't control it because apparently were-rats drove him out of the sewer. And so he's like, can you get rid of the were-rats for me? I'll move on afterwards. And we're like, but you'll have your coffin and we can goddamn kill you then.
Yeah. So we went into the sewers and then encountered a zombie that emerged from the sewer water that was like, had a bunch of hands, and awful things. And we didn't find the were-rats yet, so...
No.
Then you talked to an evil necromancer teacher.
Yeah, they were very evil. I'm like, I don't.
Pretty awful.
I don't. There's so
Necromancy's
lack
bad.
of trust. There's just such a lack of trust that I've like ran into. I'm like, I just really don't trust any of these people at all, ever, and they're just like. Anyway.
It's a fun session though.
Yeah,
I had a secret meeting with my spy people because we're observing your terrible country.
Yeah.
Not yours specifically. You're from a worse place called Faerun.
I am from Faerun, and it is the worst place.
You got isekai.
I did get isekai.
Got hit by a poo zombie in Faerun. You showed up here.
No, I got eaten by a dragon instead of here. That's canonically what I was going for. Yeah. Then we have Wednesday, where you
forgot Tuesday, Tantus.
Oh, fuck it, I forgot Tuesday. Oh my god, I'm so.
Tuesday was my game where you guys fought a worm mage who kind of beat your ass because he was CR 16.
Yeah.
And then you killed him, and then you are now in some kind of weird plane where you're being forced to relive your childhood memories.
Yeah.
And you learn that your satyr friend was possibly planted there by some kind of weird god creature.
Yeah, which was weird.
Yeah, the Oni was fine. Unironically, Lightning has made the best character because Lightning's character just wants to fight things, and that makes my job so much easier. So I'm just like, all right, I can just have you fight things, and then stuff will get revealed that way instead of being like, I gotta figure out how these 5 dumbasses are going to investigate literally anything.
We are a bunch of idiots.
You're learning your pasts may or may not have been set forth by some kind of creature related to fate.
Yay, fate stuff.
And you're also a super old dryad who
I'm
doesn't like clothing.
I'm trying to most be like quintessential dryad and not, and that's kind of hard to do.
So the session was far less horny than the one 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Anyways, look forward to fighting more worm monsters, losers. It's gonna happen.
Yay, worm monsters. Woo. Then we had Wednesday.
No, we had Wednesday.
Yep.
Yeah, that is the sequential order of days, yes.
God, 4 days in a row makes my brain kind of break a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Wednesday, you finished up book 3, which I actually didn't expect you to do.
We did kind of accidentally do the dungeon in the way to avoid everything.
Yeah. So effectively, like, I'm gonna tell you here, entirely book 3, the way it's built, they assume players will do combat, but also talk about everything in a way that's like, if you don't do combat, it's fine. Which is a very interesting way of writing it, definitely.
Yeah. I liked the part where Ada got separated.
I liked the part where Ada did get separated, just almost went off with the Sphinx.
You did almost just travel Sphinx.
Yep. I almost went off and had an adventure with a Sphinx who would have loved to torture me.
It would have been even funnier if you went in, because Ivana would have known. Ivana, regardless of how your conversation went, Ivana was always going to break the mechanism to stop the dungeon from moving.
Yeah.
So you would have just been stuck there with the Sphinx.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, the artist who drew Sphinx is the Deanna, who's in the chat right now, by the way.
Oh, hi.
Who drew Ada. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah.
I think it was an interesting time.
I like the concept of the dungeon. In practice on Roll20, it was ass.
I will not lie.
It is definitely built for in-person games.
God, yeah, the dungeon is just... It's an interesting idea, just a terrible execution.
Man, it's cool. I like dungeons that are puzzles. It really doesn't work that well on Roll20. Unfortunately.
Again, there are ways to do it.
It's true. I think there are ways to do it that I could have put it. I try to keep things relatively simple was the thing too. So it's like I think it was fine for what it was needed to do, but yeah, we made it through there. Not a terrible idea. What the hell are you doing, adventure? Just sit down somewhere. Go lie on the bed. Just walk around over here. And see the kid. What was I gonna say? I did this one time. My brain just sometimes breaks.
Oh yeah, but then next we got out of there, right?
Yeah, you got out of the city. We are at the start of book 4, technically. Just a little bit into it.
Yeah.
So, see how it all goes. I'll have to set up some things and make sure I'm ready for that entire book, which I don't know what I have. I'll look into what I have prepared, honestly. Because I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, that's kind of where we got at. It was fun, I think we reached a very interesting spot for it all. It's the halfway point, which is always a fun time.
Ooh.
I
hope it devolves into pirate politics again.
It definitely won't, but I can see an interesting direction that I don't necessarily know if I want you to go in, but you could. I don't think there really are necessarily mechanics for it, but I was thinking about it, and I'm like, there really aren't, I'll call them revolution mechanics, but the way you're setting things up, you could do something revolution related.
Okay. Could be fun.
Yeah. So just some questions I have about it, and I'm like, I don't know
there
where
are a lot of
you want
very
to go.
upset people.
There are a lot of upset people, and there are things you could do to recruit a bunch of people to help out. So maybe because honestly, it would be book 6 that you'd actually get into that. So if it's just for one book, it's not difficult that way, Because these two books here are about learning what's going on and finding a way to murder a dragon soul.
It's not like Hell's Rebels, where it's here's a whole rebellion system.
Yeah.
You use it for everything in every book.
Because it doesn't really have a system for it, I could just kind of put up with one.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, anybody do anything on a Thursday?
No.
Nope.
Okay. And how about Friday yesterday?
Nope. No Friday stuff.
Nope.
Okay. Cool. All right. I guess that leaves us at our end of our week.
And there is something happening.
Oh yes, there is something happening in
About
an hour and 15 minutes. About an hour is we're going to be having May the 4th be with Star Trek. My annual day, we're on May the 4th. I've run a Star Trek Adventures campaign. One shot. And yes, oftentimes I will reference something Star Wars related, but I did it out of
the joke is that Star Trek meets Star Wars is the joke.
Yeah, and it's Star Trek on Star Wars Day. That's also the other joke.
Mm-hmm. We play Star Trek on Star Wars Day, where Star Trek people meet creatures or events or something from Star Wars.
Yep. Look, it's year 6. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna show up again. By now. The surprise
at this
of
point,
it.
Yeah. I mean, the first few times the first time and stuff, it was very mysterious and.
The real curveball would be you do a different sci-fi IP.
That'll maybe 1 year. Not this
That'd
one. That would be a good one to do one of these years. I'll have to remember that.
Oh gosh, my thought. Yeah, no. Stargate. That'd be funny.
Just start. there's a weird parasite that you've discovered in a body or something.
Yeah.
We'll do SG-1. We'll do the series.
Not
the movie's not bad.
You're on some planet and then suddenly the wall gets blown up with C4 and a bunch of humans come rushing in.
There's so many ways you could do probably SG-1 reference or modern Battlestar Galactica, or there's a couple others too. Probably do. Starship Troopers, yeah.
There's Helldivers.
Which is basically held up. Who knows? Anyway. Yeah, let's leave the topic for next week. We'll end it here. We'll just add next to
Oh,
the
Alien, that'd be a good one.
That one could be done, or like Alien and Predator are kind of be difficult because they're very much more, stabby. It's not very Star Trek-y, but I'm sure you could do something with it that would be very...
Oh, yeah, no. I mean,
Also,
like, you could do something with it. I'm not saying you have to be like, oh, we encountered a boss.
I also feel like
there was
Alien would be weird in Star Trek because I'm pretty sure a phaser would just kill it. Like a phaser makes a dude just explode in an episode.
It does make a dude explode. They set it to kill, which really is just more power.
Usually.
Actually, they actually often do against things like, oh, stun's not working, set to kill, and they do it and it still does nothing.
Well,
like, that's the whole thing, is like, either it
phaser
does
is
something
maybe
or it does
the
nothing.
worst thing they've ever created. It only
There's
does things when the plot needs it to.
There's a lot of plot items. I'm sorry. Like, I'm just gonna, like, having watched through, I've been, like, kind of watching, like, a podcast where they talk about episodes, and
Firefly,
the entire thing is, like, when you look at the transporter is, like, the weirdest MacGuffin with, like, unspecified abilities, because they were talking about the episode where they all become children. And that's an episode that actually happened, where the transport is the fountain of youth, or, people get trapped in there and become worm monsters, or Scotty lives there for, 50 years. It's sort of like, or it duplicates you. It's the weirdest MacGuffin of stuff, is the transporter. Or just shoot it with a phaser. That's just an answer to a lot of stuff.
The child one, I agree, makes... Oh, then there was the one where it splits him into good and evil. The original series one.
Yep. Well, the child one also, they turn back without any repercussions. That it's like, it is an actual fountain of youth. And they don't mention that again. And afterwards, it's like, we found a way to go come young.
Yeah, it's, I forget what their reasoning for that one was. Like, I actually kind of liked the one where Scotty, lives for 50 years in it. Because that's actually, an interesting, concept. Because it was basically, he just was basically trapped trapped himself in the teleportation buffer.
Yeah, no. Again, some things like that, apparently, having heard more stuff about the episode, apparently there was, stuff cut out from it that would have actually helped for some of the storyline, because, he never brings up the rest of his crew, he just brings up his ship or something like that, he doesn't go look for them, when 2 of them canonically were still alive! Where, there was apparently a cut, scene where he would have actually mentioned, he doesn't want to go see them because he doesn't know how he'd act with them. Because McCoy and, Spock are alive still.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's side.
Oh, I just want to say, and the worm one they explained because it's it was basically...
Did it merge them with, something, the worm one with Barkley?
No, so with Barkley, it's because it was more he was sensing something in it that was more a manifestation of his thoughts. So he was detecting something and then he imagined it as something bad, if I remember correctly. Because he was afraid of it.
There also was something in there too with them, and so I think that's why it was a combination of both of those things. So it's sort of he saw something manifested as worse, and maybe what he saw could have been a little worm-like for the weird bacterial or worm or something that was infesting people or something like that they were merging with that. So it's a little of both, and it's kind of weird and psychological.
Like that. Yeah.
And grabbing weird worms and dragging them back into reality became a person. And I think the issues they don't talk about explain why that actually worked, even though they mentioned there was something with that. Look, it's Star Trek. They don't explain everything 99% of the time. Just gonna say. Anyway.
Oh, it's sci-fi jargon bullshit. I mean, there's literally a whole section in the book in a science in one of the Star Trek books, I think, about how to do science jargon.
Yes. Technobabble,
that's what it's called.
Anyway, we'll leave it here because you can enjoy we'll try some Technobabble probably in about an hour. We'll see how it works. I don't know, but I've got a story.
We'll see if I can find the Technobabble roll table that I bought a while ago.
We'll play for like about 3 hours. We'll see how it goes. I've got an outline. It'll be fun. It's Star Trek adventures. Anyway, so yeah, make sure to join us. As I said, we should be live in about an hour from now. So thank you to Momo, Worm for both joining me. They'll both be here for it. And, yeah. Anything else to shout out? Joe will be joining us.
I'll be streaming.
You should give your shout outs, Worm.
Yeah. I'm DiamondWyrm. You can find me on twitch.tv/DiamondWyrm or at DiamondWyrm on Twitter. I'll probably give all these shout outs again at the next game. But yeah, I'll be streaming tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. PDT.
Okay, cool. Momo, do you have anything to shout out?
I do not have anything to shout out.
Okay. And then make sure to check out the rest of my stuff. It's usually all the tabletop stuff is Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, a backup day where I do the tabletop lore discussions and stuff like that, and mechanics discussions occasionally. That's usually early to mid-afternoon is the normal schedule for those. Crimson Queen, we mentioned it. It's on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Make sure to check it. We're beginning book 4 of Crimson Throne. We've definitely stayed on course with the book, but we've also deviated in large ways. So I'll say that, definitely speaking, there's aspects of it that if you've read stuff you've recognized, but also stuff that you've and then make sure to check us out next week, 6 p.m. EST for Discussing Tabletop. And then, of course, make sure to check out later on today, in just about an hour, the 4th Good Star Trek. Come and join us then, and I'll get some more shoutouts then. But and remember, discordtwitter.com below for social media. Anyway, bye everybody, farewell, goodbye, bye.
Bye.